Hello, it's Julie Rothball from artyheaven here.com. Let me take my glasses off to start with. Got to that point. Do you have that thing? You're kind of either looking through your glasses or. Anyway, I wanted to jump on. Said I promised I'll come on a few times this week. I've been on running this page for about 12 years. Been a little bit absent recently just because I've recently moved from Hertfordshire to Cornwall. And I've just promised to show my face again a little bit more this week, share what's been happening. And just kind of, touch base again, really. So there's a few things that I'm covering this week, but today I just wanted to talk a little bit on how healing art can be, and how, from my experience and from other people's that have, I've encountered. So this is sort of the second video I've done this week. So yesterday I kind of just did a bit of a roundup and a wrap up of what's been changing since I moved down here. So if you haven't seen that, you can go back and see it. I think, what did I cover yesterday? I covered, there's an art gallery, Tiki-Do Art Gallery. I found a venue in Bude that I'm able to host encaustic wax workshops at, a couple of venues. And then also my photography with jet black squares. So I covered that as well. Sure, there's something else. But anyway, you can go back and see. The point being, you can still go back and see that and get a bit of an update on what have been happening there. So so that's still available. And also, if you just for all the likes and the shares and any comments that were made, honestly, they mean so much to me. So thank you if you took the time, even just a quick like. But yeah, some really kind comments and messages that came through. So it's nice to know, although I've not been very active very much, that I've not completely forgotten, and that people have been actually quite pleased to see me pop up again. So that's really kind to say thank you very much. But as I say, today what I wanted to kind of cover a little bit is more about just the healing side of art. So it's something that comes across. I've been doing loads of reflecting since I got back down here. Been reviewing everything, decluttering, going, everything that goes with a big move. It's, kind of you find things that you've forgotten about. And people, by likes of yesterday, you pop up, you haven't been seen for a while, and people share, put really lovely comments out. So I had shared about the jet black squares and did an update on that on LinkedIn, for example. And my point I'm getting to is that the healing side of when your art touches somebody is just quite incredible. So after I put that sharing out about the photography and the new thing going on there, I had this lovely message from a lady who I'd actually met her at my first ever art exhibition up in Hertfordshire. She then went on and she took one of my online courses. She was really taken with the art. I remember talking to her and her partner at the exhibition. And it really surprised me because I thought they were really more interested in the artwork. Anyway, she went on and did one of the online courses, and this is years and years ago, and I have really almost kind of, you forget who you've spoken to and who's been touched really by by what you've done. Anyway, she came out and just sent me a really lovely message saying how she still talks about, what was it she said? I wrote it down because I thought I'll forget otherwise. I'm still talking about your art all these years later. So the fact that somebody, so you do something once and you kind of not forget about it, it's the wrong word, but the fact that somebody else is still talking about your artwork all those years later. I was doing this for like 12 odd years now, and it was just really touching and amazing that somebody took the time as well to just let you know. But also what kind of led on to, and the other thing, I've been doing a lot of physical decluttering as well. So I've got a box, I haven't got it here with me, but I've got a box which has got all these different testimonials, just nice things that people have written, cards from when people have either bought a piece of art or maybe they've done a workshop with me, and it was just really, really touching to go back over and look through some of those. So it kind of got me onto the healing side of it, and it was just got me thinking more about what is it with, I mean, and this isn't just my art, this is anybody's art, this is art in general, and what sings to me isn't gonna be what sings to somebody else. So I've just been thinking an awful lot about what that is, and I mean, I've had so many people say so many. I mean, one lady was on. I've shared some art on just on Facebook, I think it was, and she was just saying, "Is it wrong that I just want to go and roll around in it?" And that's kind of literally what colour can do with you, to you. And you know, people. I can't remember them all now. Now I hit live. I can't remember them all that I've started talking about them. But you know, people just say the most wonderful things, and I've been thinking about what it is in particular, and it for me it's kind of, it's like the words that come to me are be still, and it just makes me stop and just kind of ground and center and be still. So you know, if I'm not I'm not always on the go all the time, but in my head, my goodness me, I've always got 10,000 browser tabs open. I've always got a million ideas, and you know, even if you know, up and about energetically, I'm not on the go. I always am in my head until I sit down with my art, and whether that's looking at it or creating it, it just makes me stop and be still, and that's what comes across. And I've had feedback from people like that, and you know, to know that people can completely just lose themselves and get that from the colour, from the texture. So I guess what I'm getting to is, you know, it just, art calms you down, whether that's my art or whether that's somebody else's artwork. It really does. It just has this calming effect. So I mean, I'm looking at a piece now here. I shared a couple of pieces. Oh, that's one thing I did yesterday. I shared a couple of pieces, a few pieces. I flipped through yesterday in the video. But I'm looking at this piece now, and it just stops and grounds me. Before I moved out of my house in Hertfordshire, I had like 3 pieces on. I'd wake up in the morning, and I can see them now. We had 3 pieces at the end of the bedroom, and I would just wake up and just that stop. I can feel it now. I can feel it. I don't even need to see them. I can feel it. And it was just, I don't know, it just stops and grounds you. And for me, that's what art does. I mean, different types of art. Some art, it will energize you. Some art will just stop, and you know, you'll be still. So I'll show you this one that I'm looking at now, and you know, you can decide if you. I painted all sorts of colours, but I'm always drawn to blue. I think it's the Cornish scenery. I can't help it. But let me show you this piece a minute. And I was just sitting here a moment ago, kind of looking, and so we saw this piece briefly, but it just, I've got the light reflecting it from across the window behind me, but I don't know, for me, my eye is drawn around all over. This is a sticker here on the front of the cellophane, by the way. But my eye is just drawn all around me, and it just stops, and it's just sort of moments in time. It's like a suspension of time, and just being still. It's just a moment in time. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that very well, but anyhow, as I say, I was reviewing lots of letters, comments, really nice. People have taken the time out. I sent a piece to Australia recently, and the postage took ages and ages to arrive, and you never quite calm down until you know it's there. And then I had a really lovely message saying that the lady had received it and absolutely loved it, how lovely it was. So all of those things. And I'm not very, you know, it's terribly British not to brag, really. So I haven't been sharing those comments as much as I should do. So I did actually upload them all onto my testimonials page last night. And so they're all there. But I will share some of the nice things that people say, but you know, how people respond to, okay, I'm talking my particular artwork now, but that's my view on it. But equally, it can be anybody's artwork. So anyhow, all of this really just to say, and the other thing, actually, let me go back a step. One thing I was going to say, I told you I need to make notes because I go off on tangent when I get going. But you know, when I first started with art, I was absolutely frazzled. I was just exhausted, and I just, back to that, how many thousand browser tabs in my head running on autopilot all the time. And it was just through creating art at that time, it just stilled me, and it just stopped my mind running into overtime, and it had a huge healing effect on my life. It changed everything, really. I went, how far am I going to go with this? you know, every week I've written a blog about it. So if you've been following me for a while, you might have even heard my story before. But you know, every week I would go to this art class, and just it was just 2 hours every week, and it was just enough to kind of bring me back to enjoying life again. You know, I was frazzled, I was crazy. It was just it was a crazy time, and it was neat. You know, my art it was healing. It was so healing, and it excuse me. My nose. And it might be that you're creating art yourself, or it could just be looking at art. I have one gentleman who bought a piece. He's on my testimonials page, but for him, just viewing my artwork was just really, again, really, really healing for him. He'd had an incident. Anyway, the story is there. You can read about it, but just the healing effect. And I never dreamt that what I put down on paper might have that effect on somebody else. And you know, really, that was really, really humbling to hear that feedback and that story from people. So anyhow, so I've kind of taken some of those comments, and I've actually put them onto my testimonials page now, because I should share them. They shouldn't just be for me, they should be for other people as well. So I've put those on there, so I will share a few just in comments. But you know, go and have a look, and just see what, it's not me then going, you know, blowing my own trumpet. You know, you can see what other people have thought. And also you kind of forget, again, let's go back to this forget, but you know, I've been creating artwork for the past 12 years, and you forget who has bought work. And it wasn't until I went back through, and say I've been going through my testimonials box with, not testimonial, you know, people send you cards and just write a little note or something, and I save all of those, I keep them, and it's really lovely to look back through, and it's a bit of a reminder of what you've done. And you just forget like how many years have passed by, and that people, I think the biggest thing that's come out of the last sort of month or so is people that purchase things from a long, many years ago, and that work is still touching their life now. So that's been my biggest takeaway, I suppose, from the feedback that I've had. So anyhow, so I wanted to touch a little bit on the healing. I always tend to come across from the healing point of view, from actually creating with art and doing workshops, but I want to come at it more so from the art side, and actually just viewing art and looking at it as well, and just what an impact that it can have on people. So anyway, I'm going to keep these quite short, sort of 10-15 minutes at the most. So I'm going to wrap this up here. But any questions, let me know. As I say, I am going to share more artworks later in the week. I'll get my organised. I'm going to need to set everything up in this room, so I'll get it a little bit more organised. I've basically got a selection of pieces that I have uncovered that have never been seen. Unless you've been in my studio, you won't have seen them before. So I'm going to share those this week. So that is something for probably tomorrow or Thursday. Anyway, thanks very much if you've jumped on live, and any questions or comments, let me know. But otherwise, catch up soon.